Good morning, guys. You able to hear me? The voice is all clear. Okay, you obviously seen the news, no? About what is the Sengol story? No, what is the Sengol story? Kanikama Shushti. Yes, yes, Prabhuna, after this class. Continuation of this class. We will be having the Viceroys discussion, yes, without fail. Yes, the transfer of power, the scepter. Nehru had actually received it from Lord Louis Mountbatten. Okay, now let us see the first questions for the day. We'll quickly begin the questions for the day. Now, with reference to Raman Magsaysay Award, consider the following statements. Raman Magsaysay Award is often considered to be an ancient Asian equivalent to Nobel Prize. The award is given to individuals and organizations from Asian region for their service to the society. Which of the following statements these are correct? Answer. By the way, guys, why is opposition boycotting opening of the parliament? So what else you need, Sandeep? Oh yes, why not? 27 definitely. Saturday, no? Definitely. Saturday, 3:30. I'll be done with the classes. Okay, there's a, okay. I'll tell you the funniest part about India's opposition and how terribly dumb they are. One fine day, most of these opposition parties are going to be in power. And eventually they're going to sit in the very same parliamentary building. When the Parliament of India said we are boycotting the parliamentary opening ceremony, the only doubt my brain was saying is, कौन है ये लोग? कहाँ से आते हैं ये? बॉयकॉट करने के लिए कुछ नहीं मिला, पार्लियामेंट मिला. It's a typical case of attention deficit disorder. Okay, now, or attention seeking syndrome. Answer is C. Raman Magsaysay Award is started in 1958, widely considered Asia's equivalent to Nobel Peace Prize. It recognizes outstanding contribution and leadership of leaders in Asia. It is named after Ramon del Fierro Magsaysay Sr., who was the seventh president of Philippines from 1953 until his death in an air crash in 1957. You know what is the I mean, this is my point of view, you may disagree with me. I always think the opposition party of India, in particular Congress, have ended up becoming BJP team B. Nobody has to help BJP to win elections. Opposition does the job. And opposition is doing it perfectly. The Quad security dialogue includes which one of the following nations? Japan, United Kingdom, Australia. Select the correct answers from the codes given below. 1 and 3, 2 and 3, 1 and 2, 1 to 3. You know what was this is Aam Aadmi Party का reason ये था, is keeping the Sengal is actually hurting the minority sentiment के अंदर, and that's why they want to boycott. And see, this is my view. You may disagree with me. To be honest, Parliament is a legislative organ. The President of India is an executive organ. To be honest, the legislative organ must inaugurate the Parliament. ये मेरा लॉजिक है. Probably that's why Draupadi Murmu was not really part of the entire celebration point, because she is an executive head, not the legislative head of India. The legislative head is Speaker, no? And the Prime Minister and his political party. So why would the President even be part of the entire logic? Answer is A. Yes. A. It is Japan and Australia. Quad is a four grouping between India, America, Japan, and Australia. They have a very common goal of free, open, and prosperous Indo-Pacific region. Unlike NATO, Quad does not include provisions for collective defense, or instead it actually chooses to do joint military exercises, basically as a show of unity and diplomatic cohesion. It's not about the Tamil or the thing. The Sengal, then Sengal is basically next elections के लिए target है, इसीलिए Sengal को लाया गया है. No doubt in that. Which one of the following has recently been released, has released the Blue Transformation Roadmap 2022-2030? IUCN, UNFCCC, FAO, and IMO. Guys, answer in the chat. Answer in the chat. Quick. Blue Transformation Roadmap is actually given by FAO. I know. No, Madhav, understand this. We follow the Montesquieu principle of legislative, executive, and judicial heads. Judiciary remains under the control of the Chief Justice of India. Legislation remains within the domains of the Parliament. President is the executive head, and we prefer that way. We prefer it that way. I mean, President of India is not inaugurating Parliament is not a genuine reason at all. FAO has recently released BTR to give Blue Transformation Report, basically to give importance to aquatic food systems as the main driver of employment, inclusive growth, SDG, sustainable development growth, and environmental recovery. I mean, look, the main idea is to coordinate efforts among countries, communities, and agencies to maximize contribution of aquatic foods, and also to re-emphasize on the 2021 Declaration for Sustainable Fisheries and Aquaculture of the Committee of Fisheries. COFI is basically a subsidiary body, and FAO, where Committee on Fisheries is a subsidiary body of Food and Agriculture Organization. The members issues and challenges related to fisheries and aquaculture are addressed. That I agree, Sandeep. ठीक है, first citizen कर ले. See, let me put it this way, guys. You know, when you buy a car, अब जब कार खरीदते हैं, या बाइक खरीदते हैं. You know that bike actually does not come with its mud guards, footrest, इंजन प्रोटेक्टर फ्रेम, कुछ नहीं आता बाइक में. बैक साइड सारी गार्ड वगैरह नहीं आता बाइक में. यू नो दिस राइट. So basically what you do, you spend money on fitting them. Most of these are basically unwanted budget expense, but you do this. Two things. एक तो safety, the other is show off. Parliamentary expenses and countries are also like that. You can't actually run a country like a kirana shop कि टिल में रात में 9 बजे इतना था, सुबह टिल में इतना है, आज भी मुनाफा ही निकालना है. ऐसा नहीं चलता. States work on deficits only. There are a lot of unwanted, unnecessary expenses, but we have to do. It's the responsibility of the state. Recently, which of the following cities of India have joined the UNESCO Global Network of Learning Cities? Thrissur, Jaipur, Warangal, Hampi. Select the correct answers from the codes given below. मतलब है बट डेमोक्रेसी है, नहीं चलता वहां पर. Answer is B B B B B 1 and 3. Thrissur and Warangal. UNESCO list of learning cities. Indian cities Nilambur and Thrissur in Kerala have recently gained recognition from UNESCO, becoming the first entrance into UNESCO Global Network of Learned Cities. Telangana, second largest city, Warangal, according to UNESCO website, has also joined it. And currently, UNESCO's website, the network is a global policy-oriented network offering inspiration, know-how, and best practices. There are 6 features that define a learning city. It effectively mobilizes its resources in every sector to advocate inclusive learning, revitalizes learning in families and communities, facilitates learning for and at workplaces, extends the usage of modern learning technologies, augments quality and excellence in learning, fosters a culture of learning throughout life. No, no. UNESCO learning greater cities of greater learning are different from World Heritage sites. They're completely different. वो भी इस्तेमाल होगा. Both will be used. We are not demolishing the old one. No? Consider the following statements about Subhash Chandra Bose. He was twice elected the president of Indian National Congress. He was highly influenced by Vivekananda's teachings. His political mentor was Chittaranjan Das. Which of the following statements about Iswara are correct? Rains are back in Hyderabad. It is cloudy. It is windy. I am under the impression it is D. Subhash Chandra Bose was born on 23rd of January in Cuttack, Odisha division, Bengal province. He was actually a Kayastha Brahmin. His birthday is celebrated as Parakram Divas, 23rd of January. Subhash Chandra Bose was twice elected president of Indian National Congress, 1938 Haripuri, 1939 Tripuri. He resigned from Congress in 1939 and because of his differences with the Congress Working Committee and eventually formed All India Forward Bloc, a faction within Congress in Bengal. Oh, is it? Good, good, mother. You're in Khammam now. And Ashmit was born on 23rd of January, 125th birth anniversary of Subhash Chandra Bose. 125 years of Subhash Chandra Bose. On that day only, Ashmit was born. The day when it was declared as Parakram Divas. 1919, he cleared the civil service. He got 4th rank. So, paper में पूरा ad था. Subhash Chandra Bose from our institute, our institute. There is also questions about toppers strategy from Subhash Chandra Bose, etc. He was highly influenced by Vivekananda's teachings and considered him as spiritual guru and Chittaranjan Das as his political guru. Subhash Babu did fourth rank. So Mukherjee Nagar was full of Subhash Chandra Bose's posters. ये हमारा बच्चा है, हमारा बच्चा है, our institute. What is your strategy? What is your strategy? Consider the following regarding All India Forward Bloc. It was formed by Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. It emerged as a faction within the Indian National Congress. The party leaned ideologically towards a socialism and Marxism. Which of the following statements these are correct? Chittaranjan Das was his political guru. Vivekananda was a spiritual guru. Answer is B. All India Forward Bloc was basically a left-wing nationalist political party within India. It emerged as a faction within Indian National Congress in 1939, led by Subhash Chandra Bose. The party subscribes to left-wing nationalism, socialism, anti-imperialism, Marxism. It was re-established as an independent political party after independence of India. Initially, it was part of Congress. Initially, it was part of Congress. After independence, it was re-established. Subhash Chandra Bose Abda Prabandhan Puraskar is instituted by the center to recognize work in the fields of very easy, very easy. Probably the easiest question of the day. Apda Prabandhan Puraskar, disaster management. Abda Prabandhan Puraskar is instituted to recognize, honor, invaluable contribution and selfless service rendered by individuals and organizations in India. The award is announced every year on 23rd of January. It carries a cash prize of 51 lakhs and the certificate in case of an institution, and rupees 5 lakhs and a certificate in case of an individual. For individuals, 5 lakh. For institutions, 51 lakhs. Human Development Index is released by which of the following? WEF, WBG, UNDP, FAO. See, as long as there are students in the world who will join institutes on the basis of marketing, there will always be marketing. Thankfully, I do know a lot of institutes as well, which do absolutely zero marketing, still do good results, still have students, still do a good job in UPSC, CSA. Hyderabad में for example, answer is C, guys. By the way, UNDP, United Nations Development Program. And as Grace, Human Development Index, HDI, is actually given by UNDP. Which of the following statements these are correct about Dara Shikoh? He was the eldest son of Jahangir. He translated into Persian the Bhagavad Gita as well as Upanishads. He devoted much effort towards finding a common mystical language between Islam and Hinduism. Which of the following statements given above is or are correct? No, Madhav, I don't want to take names. But there are many institutes in Hyderabad who do not do any marketing or who do not have that much of money or capacity to do unnecessary marketing. All this topper strategy videos, etc., etc. They don't do all this stuff. From today, stay calm. Don't panic. I already had few calls yesterday about panicked aspirants. Don't panic. There is nothing you can do now, guys. You will have to write the exam. You don't get a choice. You are writing the exam. You like it, you don't like it, you feel prepared, you feel under prepared, you feel over prepared, it is irrelevant. Answer is B. He was eldest son of Shah Jahan, not Jahangir. He was killed after losing the war of succession against his brother Aurangzeb in the Battle of Deora and Battle of Samugad. And he is described as a liberal Muslim who tried to find commonalities between Hindus and Muslims. He translated into Persian the Bhagavad Gita as well as Upanishads. According to Shah Jahan Nama, after Aurangzeb's death, Dara Shikoh he brought later to Delhi in chains. His head was cut off and sent to Agra fort, while his torso was buried in Humayun's tomb complex. Okay. Coming to the chat, education is a service, but service also includes GST. I mean, that's my point of view. You can't actually do entire education free, guys, reality, because teacher also has to be paid. No, Jahangir. Arjun Dev was associated with Jahangir. Kunal, if you're feeling you're fully tensed for the entire day, don't worry. You've not yet got married. शादी कर लो. टेंशन की आदत पड़ जाएगी. Gender Snapshot 2022 report is released by which of the following? UNDP, WEF, UNICEF, none of them. Kunal, you don't get a choice. Hindi bhasha mein, the society does not like the word nahi. I mean, look, get married, have children, you will start to learn how to live a tensed life on your toes. Then UPSC preparation ka tension is nothing. Gender Snapshot 2022 report is actually released by UNDESA and UN Women. United Nations Women, the current rate. In fact, it seems by the current standards, if you compare, it will take approximately 286 years to achieve full gender equality, and more women and girls live in extreme poverty than men and boys now. Extreme poverty is living on less than $1.90 a day. Women hold only 2 out of 10 jobs in science and technology. National Youth Day is celebrated on 12th of January to disseminate the ideas and doctrines of Swami Vivekananda, Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan, Jawaharlal Nehru, Subhash Chandra Bose. Have you ever observed some of the greatest people, achievers in life, have a terrible family life? I mean, Sandeep, this is my point of view. This is my point of view. Gender equality obviously will take 200 minimum few centuries because look, it's an inequality system in a patriarchal society with more than 4,000 years of history. You can't expect it to be changed in 100 years period. नहीं चलता वैसा. What, women empowerment really even started in the world in 1920s after the women's suffragette movement. So if it is going to just take only 286 years, that's a luxury. That's like a beauty. That's the best thing that can happen. Swami Vivekananda. January 12th marks the birthday of Vivekananda. National Youth Day is observed on this day, celebrated since 1984. The main objective with the obviously the National Youth Day is to promote rational thinking among the youth, believed to be the future of the country. Okay, now who had called Vivekananda the maker of modern India? Mahatma Gandhi, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Jawaharlal Nehru, Subhash Chandra Bose. Who called Vivekananda the maker of modern India? Today I'll share some mind maps. Today I'll share some mind maps. Indus Valley, Gupta Vagara mind maps I'll share. Vivekananda was called the maker of modern India by Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. Netaji. No. Prabuddha Bharata, a monthly journal of Ramakrishna order was started by Swami Brahmananda, Swami Premananda, Swami Yogananda, Swami Vivekananda, Swami Nityananda. Brahmananda, Premananda, Yogananda, Vivekananda. Prabundha Bharat actually was started, or Awakened India was started as an English monthly journal of the Ramakrishna order, published since 1896. It carries articles and translations of monks, scholars, writers on humanities and social sciences, including religious, psychological, and historical and cultural themes. It was started by none other than Swami Vivekananda in 1896, that too at the young age of 33. It is among the longest running English journals of the country. Prabuddha Bharata, there is a very powerful thought behind this name. Which of the following varieties of land during Mughal period did not yield any land revenue for the state? Khalisa, Jagir, Sayurghal, Raiti. Yes. Prabuddha Bharata in English is Awake in India. Guys, answer this. I'm just coming. One second. Answer. Which does not yield any produce. Answer is C. Sayurghal. Sayurghal, Sayurghal. Okay. Now, which one of the following is not the chief feature of the Dhasala system of land revenue? Not the main feature of Dhasala. Zaptiya Dhasala. अमेध्य शिवचंडाल मध्यमां शातितोषिता। अमेध्य शिवचंडाल मध्यमां शातितोषिता. Survey and measurement of the land, classification of the land, fixation of rates, biennial assessment. Biennial assessment नहीं, 10 साला decadal assessment. Assessment and estimation of the land every 10 years. What portion of the actual produce was fixed as the demand of the state under Zapti? एतस्य पातकं क्षमता. भगवान आपके पापों को क्षमा करे. एतस्य पातकं क्षमता. What portion of the actual produce was fixed under the state as Zapti? 1/6 of the produce, no, 1/3. 1/3 या 1/6. Always यही था. Remember this. Our history में, and in the history of Indian kingdoms, it has always been 1/3 or 1/5, which was the demand of the state. Akbar laid the foundation of the new city of Fatehpur Sikri in honor of Babar, Moinuddin Chisti, Salim Chisti, Nizamuddin Aulia. Akbar actually laid the foundation of the new city of Fatehpur Sikri in honor of. Salim Chisti, a Sufi saint. In fact, Akbar's son Jahangir is also named Salim in honor of Sheikh Salim Chisti. Sheikh Salim Chisti. Next. Akbar is reputed to have been a good player of Veena, Sitar, Pakhwaj, and Nakhara, or commonly called Nagada. Akbar is known to have very well been known to have been a good player of Nagada, the musical instrument. Nagada. During the reign of which great Mughal was tobacco introduced in India? I mean, he was obviously the greatest Mughal, thanks to his tobacco addiction. These are previous year questions, yes. Ramya, previous year questions from 1978. नहीं नहीं नगाड़ा नगाड़ा अकबर तो नगाड़ा वाले थे. द किंग ऑफ द तंबाकू जहांगीर. सलीम. Salim had three great habits. One, he knew how to smoke. Two, he knew how to love. Three, he knew how to paint. Other than this, he knows nothing. Which great Mughal is credited with prohibiting sati unless the widow herself of her own free will persistently desired it? Akbar, Babar, Humayun, Jahangir. I mean, which king के period में और which Mughal के period में sati was banned, with an exception that if the woman wants to do sati herself, she can. Sandeep, let me put it this way. The Akbar you guys know from the textbooks is actually Akbar from Indian National Congress. The real Akbar is different. Mughal is credited with prohibiting sati. It is Akbar. Akbar. Akbar prohibited sati unless the woman herself says, नहीं मुझे सती करना है मैं जिंदा नहीं रह सकती. I mean, unless the girl says, I want to do sati, done. I'm not negotiating on this. Then sati is permitted. Okay, and Akbar's enlightened religious policy was based on the philosophy of Sul-e-Kul, which meant universal tolerance, universal peace, enlightened benevolence, unity of Godhead. Akbar the second had his own problems. He had a very big family along with girlfriends. इतने लोगों का खर्चा पानी कौन उठाएगा? Company was not giving enough money. That's why Akbar the second wanted more pension. Cost of living was expensive. Unity, universal peace. Sul-e-Kul, universal peace. Universal peace. And yeah, it is true. You know how we say Allahu Akbar? After the introduction of Deen Ilahi, Akbar went to the point of actually declaring himself the God. That's why Allahu Akbar is said only in the subcontinent, not in the Islamic world. There, it does not, I mean, one meaning for that is Allah is great. The other meaning is Allah is Akbar or Akbar is Allah. This was a problem with Deen Ilahi. In fact, a very strong problem with Deen Ilahi. Jahangir is a faithful General Mahabat Khan revolted against him in 1626 because he wanted to rule independently in Bengal and Bihar. His son was executed by Jahangir due to Nur Jahan intrigues, all of the above reasons. Mahabat Khan was very close ally, friend, trustworthy general of Jahangir. But then Mahabat Khan also revolted against Jahangir. Answer is C. Answer is C. Nur Jahan's intrigues. Mahabat Khan and Jahangir के रिश्ते इसलिए खराब हुए थे कि because Nur Jahan never liked him. Nur Jahan used to instigate Salim against his own Mahabat Khan. Yes. Yes, Pooja. उसमें दिखाते हैं इसमें. In the series of Taj, they highlight how it is Allahu Akbar and how the ulemas were shocked. Particularly, Badauni was shocked when Akbar declared himself the prophet and the god. And it was true. That source is Badauni's chronicles. The chain of justice is associated with Humayun, Akbar, Jahangir, Shah Jahan. नहीं धर्मेंद्र से ख्वाजा गरीब नवाज मोहिनुद्दीन चिश्ती Dharmendra did the character of Khwaja Moinuddin Chishti, Ajmer Sharif. The chain of justice is associated with Jahangir. Jahangir ke ghar ke bahar, there used to be a chain of justice. So anybody, if they feel that they have faced injustice, they could ring this bell and Jahangir will risen and he will come. Jahangir will give direct appointment. Aurangzeb discontinued the practice of inscribing kalima on the coins because it was a practice borrowed from Turks. It would have been dishonored by coming under the feet of the people, and it hampered the smooth functioning of the escheat system. It was an irreligious practice. Kalima is basically the name, etc. Yes, Sandeep, there is one version where Anarkali was the dancing girl. Uh, Akbar and also the mother of Akbar's one of the sons. The same Anarkali also fell in love with Akbar's other son. The problems of the fathers and the problems of the sons with the Khanis. Prince Danial. Danial, they show Anarkali as Danial's mother. Aurangzeb actually discontinued because it would have been dishonored by coming under the feet of the people. Kalima is basically the symbol, etc., of the Khalif put on a coin. On Akbar isko, Aurangzeb isko pasand nahi karte the. Who among the following was illiterate? Akbar, Jahangir, Shahjahan, Aurangzeb. अनपढ़ गवार कौन थे? नहीं, जहांगीर, शाहजहां, औरंगजेब were well educated. Akbar was like अंगूठा छाप. नहीं, बाकी सब पढ़े लिखे बेवकूफ थे. I mean, the way I see is, जहांगीर, शाहजहां, औरंगजेब पढ़े लिखे बेवकूफ थे. अकबर अनपढ़ ज्ञानी था. Akbar was the uneducated intelligent, the other three were educated fools. Aurangzeb got some temples destroyed. Which one of the following is not one of them? Somnath temple in Gujarat, Vishwanath temple at Banaras, Keshavara temple at Banaras, Jagannath at Puri. The funny part is Aurangzeb also built the Chitrakoot Balaji temple. Answer is D. Jagannath temple at Puri he did not destroy. But Aurangzeb is known to have commissioned and built approximately 11 to 12 temples. Chitrakoot Balaji temple is the most famous of them. Under Aurangzeb, the Amin collected grazing tax, jizya, kharaj, and zakat. Amin collected what? No, you mean recorded Johar? It is during Aladdin Khilji's period. The woman of Ranthambore. Woman of Ranthambore. Yeah. Amin was basically somebody who collected jizya. Jizya. Puri, yes, destroyed by Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Dara Shikoh, the eldest son of Shah Jahan, was the author of which one of the following works? Safinatul Auliya, Sakinatul Auliya, Hasnatul Afrin, Majmaul Bahrain. फंस गए. Don't know, Sandeep. This is my point of view. I always see Aurangzeb as a classic case of multiple personality disorder. And that's my point of view. You may, you're free to happily disagree with me, but मुझे तो हमेशा ही लगता है औरंगजेब मानसिक तरीके से थोड़ा बीमार था. So there was this Aurangzeb and there was also that Aurangzeb. And this the only problem for you is you don't know when you go and meet Aurangzeb, you will get this Aurangzeb or that Aurangzeb. You will definitely meet an Aurangzeb or this or that में problem हो जाता है. Okay, Sitadri, let us not disrespect him. We will call him multiple personality disorder rather than calling him psychopath. Answer is D, guys. All of them. He wrote Safinatul Auliya, Sakinatul Auliya, Hasnatul Afrin, Majma al Bahrain. Majma al Bahrain, most popular of his books. Which of the following statements about the revenue reforms of Sher Shah Suri are true? Assessment of land revenue was on the basis of measurement of land. Introduction of the new unit of measurement called Ilahi Gaz was also there. Classification of land into three categories on the basis of production. Good, bad, red, building. Computation of the average products of three kinds of lands was fixed at one third of that of land revenue. Issue of title deeds to peasants and acquisition of acceptance deeds from them. Choose the answers from the codes given below. Yes, obsessive compulsive disorder, multiple personality disorder, attention seeking syndrome, post traumatic stress disorder. ये सभी diseases थे औरंगजेब को. Answer is assessment of the land was on the basis of yields. Ilahi gas was introduced by Sikandar Lodhi, not Sher Shah. Sher Shah basically used the old Sikandari gas only or Ilahi gas. So it was not he did not introduce the new land measurement system. All other statements are correct. What are the various measures taken by Sher Shah to improve trade and commerce? Build new roads and restoration of old ones, construction of rest houses and other roads for convenience of travelers and traders, issue of fine gold coins, silver and copper coins of uniform standard, collection of customs duties and tolls at several places all through the empire, making the local headmen and zamindars responsible for the loss of gold, goods of merchants in transit. Select the answers from the codes given below. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, all of them. From 1st of January, sorry, 1st of June, there is a small update coming on this class. We will be doing MCQs, but only for 30 minutes. We will be doing mains answer writing as well on this very class. Got it? We'll be discussing important mains topics, mains answer writing sessions. So daily morning you will also be writing from 1st of June. I will create a drive, Sandeep. Each of you will have a folder there. Upload your drive, upload your, all of you will get the drive links. तो आंसर राइट करके उसमें अपलोड कर दो, मैं करेक्शन करके भेज दूंगा. Yes, for mains. Yes, for mains. Answer is B. 1, 2, 3, and 5. Customs duties and tolls were collected only at one place, either at the entrance or the exit. Ramya, yes. For mains 2023, even for mains 2024, it doesn't matter. So mains. So we'll be practicing answer writing as well, basically. Apart from MCQs. On this very YouTube channel. वो free में ही होगा. Samer battles and results. Samel, Bilgram, Ghagar, Khandwa, Panipat. Defeat of Afghans under Ibrahim Lodi by Babur. Defeat of Rajputs under Rana Sanga by Babur. Defeat of Afghans under Mahmud Lodi by Babur. Final defeat of Humayun by Sher Shah. Defeat of Rajputs under Maldev Singh of Marwar by Sher Shah. The answer is A. Battle of Samel. Defeat of Rajputs under Maldev of Marwar by Sher Shah. Sher Shah fought the Battle of Samel. Samel Sangram. And Battle of Bilgram. Defeat of Humayun by Sher Shah. Battle of Ghagar. Ibrahim Lodi. Sorry, Mahmud Lodi and Babar. Battle of Khandwa. Rana Sanga and Babar. Panipat, Afghans and Ibrahim Lodi. Even if I travel online, no, makes life easy, Ramya. It's okay. Even if I travel, I'll upload. We'll still have a class. Answer is A. Which one of the following is correctly matched? Kachavahas, Ranas, Hadas, Rathors, Mewar, Marwar, Ranthambore, Amber. Mewar, Marwar, Ranthambore, and Amber. Now, answer is C. Hadas and Ranthambore. Hadas belong to Ranthambore, Ranthambore. C answer. Consider the following list. Rani Durgavati, Baz Bahadur, Muhammad Hakim, Chand Sultana, Malik Amber. Last ruler of Malwa defeated by Akbar. Ruler of Gharkatanga who put up stiff resistance before the conquest of Akbar. Akbar's half brother who was put to death by Akbar. The person who put stiff resistance to Akbar before the conquest of half of Ahmednagar kingdom. And the person who was responsible for foiling Jahangir's attempt to complete annexation of Ahmednagar. Which of the following are correctly matched? Answer I think must be C. Don't get me. See, remember, I mean, you would have Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav series mein of the among different women which I did on YouTube. Rani Durgavati was the most important. She was the ruler of Gharkatanga, who put very stiff resistance against Akbar. Harshini, yes, that's why that should not be used. There is nothing called elimination technique. Rather, there's only smart guesswork. That's it. Don't try to use any particular elimination technique because UPSC knows that you are using the technique. That's why last year prelims also they changed the question pattern such that you will never be able to eliminate options. More than two are correct, more than three are correct. That type of questions come. How will you answer them? Baz Bahadur was the ruler of Malwa, defeated by Akbar. The last ruler of Malwa, Baz Bahadur, who actually revolted against Akbar. Hmm. Answer is C. 3, 4, and 5. Muhammad Hakim was actually Akbar's half brother who tried to revolt against Akbar. Chand Sultana was from Ahmednagar, and Malik Amber was the guy who stopped Ahmednagar invasion or who challenged invasion of Ahmednagar. Last question before we go for Viceroys and also a break. Jama, Hasil, Dastur, Bahi, Biga. Half brother, and Papa same, Mummy different. Jama, Hasil, Dastur, Bahi, Biga. It's actually C. That's actually C. One, a assessment stipulated revenue from unit of land. Two, Hasil is the one which is actually collected. Dastur is final and permanent settlements of unit of land. Bahi, particular unit of land. Sorry, Biga is particular unit of land. And Bahi is the revenue register that is kept at the village level. Okay. Guys, we'll go on a quick 5 minutes break. I'll be back in 5 minutes and then we'll continue this discussion. I'll see you in 5 minutes, guys. A is the answer. A is the answer. पक्का पक्का टेलीग्राम में शेयर कर दूंगा 5 minutes I'll be back Okay, guys. So let us begin the discussion on Viceroys. Okay, 1 second. Hmm. I think in the last class we've discussed till Lord Mayo and we Lord Mentos, and we have to see from Elgin, right? Elgin the second. Elgin the two is done. Elgin two is done. 1 second. Let me upload the PDF. Age of Consent, Diamond Jubilee, Curzon. We have to see Minto, no? Have we discussed Minto the second? Okay. कर्जन तक देखा है. आई मीन संदीप सीधा पापा को बोल देते हैं, पापा एग्जाम क्लियर हो गया तो आई विल ऑल्सो बी जॉइनिंग इंडियाज मोस्ट पॉपुलर मैरिज ब्यूरो, लबाजना. Lord Minto, 1905. Okay, see, Minto had for substantially long period served under Curzon. He was actually member of Curzon's council. He was in Curzon's council. I mean, so Minto was coming from a good amount of, you can say, evil experiences from Curzon. Some of the most important legislations in the history of British India were passed during Minto's period. Also, the formation of Muslim League, the split of Indian National Congress, the Surat split, which is basically all of these happened, and also the grant of separate electorate to the Muslims also happened here. Now, Minto was actually Governor General and Viceroy of India from 1905 to 1910. And there is a legend saying it is actually Minto who invited the Shimla deputation. We call this Shimla deputation, which was essentially a deputation of. Hi, John. Oh, good, good. Braintree. I will be taking world history there at Braintree. I do take world history classes at Braintree. Good institute. And Lord Minto was the Governor General and Viceroy of India. And there is a legend saying that Lord Minto actually invited the Shimla deputation, which is basically the leadership of the Muslim world. I mean, to Shimla, mainly asking them to create an alternative to Congress representing the interests of Muslims. He was the fourth Earl of Minto, grandson of Lord Minto, who served as Governor General from 1807 to 1813. So Minto is coming from a senior background. His grandfather had been previously Governor General in India. And Minto was also a Tory. Tory is basically means a conservative. And he also served in armed forces in British armed forces in Afghanistan and Egypt. He arrived in India at the height of agitation and partition of Bengal. I mean, Bengal partition had just happened, and Minto was at the point where he was facing the wrath of the Bengal partition. There was an underground revolutionary activity which was going on, very strong press censorship which was going on during Minto's period. Despite a slew of repressive measures, the unrest was consistent, unrest was persistent. I mean, there was severe, strong opposition to the British. Minto faced opposition from two main forces: the Congress, which demanded immediate cancellation of the Bengal partition, and also a new generation of patriots who were dominating Congress now. And this new generation in the 1905, 1906 was even ready to take the weapons, take guns against the British. They were not ready to just negotiate. They were ready to even attack the British. ये period में ही things went for Surat splitting. 1907, Dr. Rasbihari Ghosh, moderate, was elected the president of Congress as against the interests of extremists. The moderate extremist dispute split completely wide because extremists wanted the Swadeshi boycott movement to be spread across the country, whereas the moderates wanted the Swadeshi boycott movement to be restricted only to Bengal because the movement itself started as an agitation to Bengal partition, not an all India phenomenon. Extremists wish to expand the boycott and Swadeshi movement beyond Bengal, which obviously moderates opposed. And that's why moderates made sure extremists never dominate Congress. The moderates, on the other hand, were opposed to expanding the movement beyond Bengal and were vehemently opposed of these extra constitutional methods of protests like boycott. Yes, it was Converse. Surat session 1907 saw the emergence of growing schisms between moderates and extremists. I mean, moderates accused extremists of being violent, whereas extremists accused moderates of being pro-British and supportive of British only. So everything was happening at that time. And at this point of time, it was during this period, the famous Muslim League was also created. Muslim League came into existence as a political organization. It was during Lord Minto's period or Minto's era, when the British partitioned Bengal in the name of creating a separate administrative district or administrative center for Muslims. Establishment of Muslim League was basically an attempt, even by Minto, by British. Yes, I'll be sharing, Pooja. I'll be sharing a lot of content I got. The establishment of Muslim League was an attempt by the British to identify Muslims as a separate political entity. Lord Minto invited all Muslim leaders to Shimla in 1906, even proposed the formation of Muslim League. Nawab Salimullah, Wakarul Mulk, Mohsinul Mulk, Prince Aga Khan are the four people who eventually formed the Muslim League. And kaha jata hai the Muslim Leagues are, while the Muslim League was created by Muslim leaders, the architect, the planner of Muslim League was actually Lord Minto. Minto wanted to suppress Congress, and Minto thought that forming a religious divide among Indians was the easiest way to kill Congress. And for that, using Muslim leadership, particularly members of the Aga school, Aga Khan school, and members of the Aligarh school against Hindus. Aga Khan was the Muslim League's first president, and he was, and Muslim League was eventually created with that idea to protect the interests of Muslim. There was no conflict between Indian National Congress and Muslim League at first. Muslim League was mainly envisioned to protect and to enhance and to present the interests of Muslims of India. They were not anti-Congress. In fact, there were many people who were members of Muslim League and Congress at the same time. Like, take for example, Muhammad Ali Jinnah. Jinnah was a member of Congress and also a member of Muslim League. Dual memberships. So that was always an advantage. ये सब हो रहा था मिंटो के पीरियड में. During Minto, obviously, another greatest reform is the Minto-Morley reform. Whenever the word Minto-Morley reform comes to your mind, the first thing that must come to your mind is direct electorate. For the first time, separate electorate and direct elections. It was put in place to appease the moderates and introduce separate electorates on the basis of religion. Lord Minto came to be known as father of communal electorate for giving separate electorate for Muslims. Minto-Morley reforms was the other name for Indian Councils Act 1909, which was named after Secretary of State of Viceroy. It was put in place to appease the moderates. Membership of the central and provincial legislatures was increased as a result of Government of India Act 1909. The members of elected members on these councils, however, was less than half the total membership. And the members were to be elected from landlords, organization of traders, industrialists, universities, local governments, rather than by general public. It was still considered direct electorate because they used to get elected directly to the parliament, not indirectly through the provincial councils. As part of these reforms, British instituted also communal electorate. This showing the seeds of Hindu Muslim political divide. Some of the council seats were actually set aside for Muslims to be elected only by a Muslim vote bank. Only by a Muslim vote bank. Minto spent 5 years in India. During this period, he did the Morley reforms and ended up creating Congress. Um, he granted separate trade. The power dynamics of Indian independence struggle completely changed after him. Although subsequent events would shape the subcontinent's course, his period, his introduction of the communal identities and communal electorate and communal politics eventually ended up becoming disaster for the subcontinent. It had disastrous results in subcontinent, even for the Britishers. And the funniest part is, by creating Muslim League, Britishers thought they will have somebody in India to rely on. But eventually, Muslim League also became the most important opponent for the British. So, by within 10 years of its formation, by 1919, British were fighting not only Congress but also Muslim League. Now they had two opponents, not one. Lord Minto was then succeeded by Lord Harding II. He was a viceroy from 1910 to 1916. Harding, similar to previous Ripon and people, was actually a diplomat. He was a senior diplomat. Dufferin की तरह diplomat था ये. This young viceroy was very sympathetic to India's hopes and gains. I mean, he believed in India's ideas. Charles Harding. He was a grandson of Lord Harding, previously Governor General of India from 1844 to 1848. So basically, Lord Minto, Lord Harding, Charles Harding, both of these were actually senior people whose ancestry has been in the service of India. After serving as an ambassador to Russia, British ambassador to Russia in 1904, and as a permanent under secretary, or you can say high commissioner or diplomat, permanent diplomat, he was elected to the peerage and appointed Viceroy of India in 1910. His government reversed many of Lord Curzon's unpopular measures, mainly, for example, the partition of Bengal. Viceroy Harding II eventually ended the partition of Bengal in 1911. And also, he, during his period, we see the accession of King George V and Queen Mary to the throne, and also shifting of India's capital from Calcutta to New Delhi. Yes, he was attacked by Ras Bihari Bose. In 1911, Viceroy Harding conducted the Delhi Darbar when King George V attended India. In fact, it was during George's period the coronation happened in India. After that, the coronation has happened just now. Male coronation. पिछले हफ्ते हुआ था ना चार्ल्स काकू का. He paid a visit to India where Darbar was held to commemorate King George V and Queen Mary's coronation. The Darbar restored the pomp and show off of the Mughals in Delhi. The king and queen, represented in the coronation robes, adorned the thousands of diamonds and precious gems. Everybody did the Jharoka Darshan as well, who had gathered to meet the sovereign. The Congress passed a resolution condemning the Darbar's show off and pomp. Naturally, Congress है resolution तो pass ही करेगा. The king declared that the capital of India would now be shifted from Calcutta to Delhi. Main reason for why the Calcutta capital was shifted is Calcutta had become like a home ground for all sorts of revolutionaries and radicals. So that's why this was shifted. Partition of Bengal was also declared null and void, and 1911 Darbar mein partition was removed. In 1912, there was a conspiracy case that also called the first Lahore conspiracy case, or the Delhi conspiracy case, or the Harding bomb case. All the three are same. Remember, there are two Lahore conspiracy cases. First Lahore conspiracy case is also the Delhi conspiracy case. The second Lahore conspiracy case is the Scots murder case, Bhagat Singh Wala, where members of Yugantar actually threw a bomb in Delhi's Chandni Chowk in order to kill Lord Harding. Viceroy survived with minor injuries, but his elephant was killed. This conspiracy was entirely hatched by Rajbihari Bose, who then escaped to Japan. In Japan, just to avoid any future arrests, because Japan had become the ally of British, he married a local Japanese lady. Basant Kumar Bishwas, Amir Chand, Awadh Bihari were the other members of this conspiracy case. This conspiracy was the first time and also the last time a viceroy had been attacked directly by Indian revolutionaries. This was for the first time. During Viceroy Harding's period only, we see the start of World War One, the outbreak of World War One, First World War. India's participation in it was most significant. 1.3 billion people went. Harding dispatched almost all European soldiers available in India, as well as a large number of Indian soldiers, mainly to fight for British cause in various parts of the world. In fact, thanks to this, he became very popular even in Britain. Central Assembly of Delhi, no? Second Lahore conspiracy case is basically Scott's murder case, where he killed Scott, Bhagat Singh, Rajguru, Sukhdev. Assembly conspiracy cases, Bhattu Keshwar Dutt and Bhagat Singh. ये दोनों अलग अलग है. Harding wisely dispatched almost all European soldiers, and obviously, thanks to the entire war effort and the big support Harding has been able to get from Indian soldiers, he became very, very popular in Britain. In fact, Indian war effort actually helped British win. During Harding's period, we also see the establishment of Hindu Mahasabha, and Pandit Madan Mohan Malaviya founded it in 1915. Hindu Mahasabha was founded to bring together local various Hindu movements that had roots in North Indian public life dating back to previous century, I mean 18th century. It was remodeled along the lines of Congress in the 1920s by its founders, including UP's Pandit Madan Mohan Malaviya. No, previously we used to have a assembly house where the parliament is set up today. That place, assembly hall, central legislative hall. The branch with the branches in most parts of India. I mean, Hindu Mahasabha actually had a branches, just like Congress. The way Congress had Pradesh Congress committees, Hindu Mahasabha had state committees. It focused on social and religious work among Hindus and untouchables, cow protection, the spread of Hindi as a language. The organization remained more concerned with defending Hindu interests, particularly when Congress tactics appeared to be actually to jeopardize Hindu interests. Congress, from the beginning, had this minority appeasement politics. Hindu Mahasabha was created or established mainly to counter that. In 1915, remember this, it was during Harding's period, Gandhi came to India. And it was during Harding's period, General Jason Smuts of South Africa famously told Harding one thing: he is coming. God save British India. स्मट्स ने सीधा हार्डिंग को बोला था, वो आ रहा है, तुम्हें भगवान ही बचाए. Harding never understood it. Later, it was too late for him to understand it. Mahatma Gandhi returned from South Africa on the insistence of Bal Gangadhar Tilak in 1915. Gandhi returned to India on January 8th, 1915. He established a Sabarmati ashram in May 1915. Gandhi had actually no official leadership, and he was not a member of any political party. That's why British could easily tolerate his presence. Harding's Harding had very bad relations even with South Africa. See, personally, he had good ideas about Indians. I mean, for example, when Gandhi was creating trouble in South Africa passed the Anti-Indian Immigration Act, where number of Indians going to South Africa was restricted severely, mainly to punish South African Indians for supporting Gandhi. Harding was very critical about the way South African government was actually treating Indians. So, उस हिसाब से he was better. Harding was a good guy. I mean, उस हिसाब से देखो तो Harding was a good guy. Harding bridged across the Padma River in near Iswardi in Pabna district is named after him when it was opened in 1915. So Harding bhi I when Minto the second came, he left. Harding came, Harding left. He returned to England. He was appointed permanent secretary of foreign affairs. He passed away in August 1944. Eventually, Harding wrote a book, My Memoirs in India, 1910 to 1960, published in 1948. Harding was then succeeded by Lord Chelmsford of the famous Montagu Chelmsford reforms, 1916 to 1921. He was succeeding Lord Harding, and he was coming in a very troubled time period, guys. During Chelmsford period only, Jallianwala Bagh happened. During Chelmsford period, World War II ended. World War I ended. The Khilafat movement started. Gandhi became hyperactive. Congress also rejoined. Lucknow Congress session happened, where Congress merged. Muslim League and Congress promised to work together. A lot of things were happening. Chelmsford was a fellow of All Souls College, London's also a member of London City Council, and he had a distinction of being the governor of Queensland and New South Wales in Australia. I mean, at that time, even now, Australia is a crown colony, so he was a member of this. Chelmsford's name is historically linked with his Liberal State Secretary, Lord Edwin Montague, who took Joseph Chamberlain's job at Whitehall, and Montague Chelmsford reforms, also called the Government of India Act 1919. They were a good positive step because the Montague Chelmsford reforms actually increased the participation of Indians in legislative activities in India. I mean, it gave Indian majority even in the provinces, transferring many of the several departments of India as a central government to elected Indian members rather than appointing British officials to run it. In fact, Chelmsford के period में we can conclusively say that Indianization of India began. The provincial councils would have all elective majorities under the Government of India Act 1919. Elected members would run their various departments. I mean, in fact, while Minto Morley reforms introduced separate electorate for Muslims, Montague Chelmsford reforms introduced separate electorate for all others as well. It retained it, but also expanded it to Anglo-Indians, Sikh, Christians, etc. And also, extension of wartime martial law was practiced or was attempted by passing the Rowlatt Act, and British forces were increasingly afraid of the violent Indian nationalism. In 1920s, 1919, 1920, there was also this militant extremism which was at its peak. Brigadier Dyer's massacre of unarmed peaceful Indians trapped in Amritsar's Jallianwala Bagh in April 1919 did not go very well for Chelmsford's record. Now, Pooja, let me put it this way. I mean, the way we see it is, at least some power was with Indians. Previously, no power was with Indians. Main power was with British, no doubt. But kuch to mila. Anglo-Indian relations. In fact, after Dyer's Jallianwala Bagh, even the most supportive members of British became anti-British. During Chelmsford's period, we see the Lucknow session headed by Ambika Charan Majumdar, where Muslim League and Congress agreed to work together, where Congress will support Muslim League's demand for separate electorate. Muslim League will support Congress's demand for dominion status, and also extremists and moderates will be brought together. They both will work together. Lord Chelmsford was the viceroy at the time of Lucknow session. Viceroy had asked Indians to propose administrative reforms in the post-World War I scenario. Until that point, the Muslim League was a minor political force. After that, it became major political force. In the Lucknow session, Congress and Muslim League signed an agreement where they both will agree together. In fact, the architect of the Muslim League Congress agreement of the Lucknow Pact was Muhammad Ali Jinnah. That's why Sarojini Naidu called him the ambassador of Hindu-Muslim unity. It was in 1917 only Lord Montague, the Secretary of State for India, delivered the famous Montague Declaration, August 1917, in the House of Commons of British Parliament, outlining British policy for Indian administration or what Britishers wanted to do for India. I mean, the statement basically said increased association of Indians in every branch of administration and the gradual development of self-governing institutions with a view of progressive realization of responsible governments in India as an integral part of British Empire. I mean, without using the word dominion status, without using the word autonomy, they were ready to give us autonomy. Montague Declaration. The statement had lofty ideals, but Annie Besant called it unworthy of England to offer and India to accept. Annie Besant's reaction to August Declaration 1917 was, it is unworthy to give by the unworthy of England to give it, and unworthy of India to accept it. Tilak called it a sunless dawn. Though some moderates supported it, the August Declaration was, I mean, to be honest, it was too late. It was too late. At this point, there was another schism in Congress, and the extremists formed All India Liberal Federation by one group was there. Thankfully, 1919, Montague-Kempsford reforms. If you remember, Montague-Kempsford reforms gave provincial autonomy, implemented colonial government and provincial representative autonomy in 1919, where the reforms were outlined in the Montague-Kempsford reform report. It was mainly indicative of constitutional changes, where Indian nationalists viewed the reforms as insufficiently far-reaching, while British conservative called it too much. Monte-Carlo reforms gave full power, or you can say majority power to Indians, at least in the provinces. May not be in the union government, but at least in the provinces. Rowlatt Act was also passed. Anarchical and Revolutionary Crimes Act. Since it was introduced by Sir Sidney Rowlatt, it was basically called the Rowlatt Act. Basically, there were two provisions of it. Number one, anybody could be arrested for a period of 2 years without a warrant on the mere suspicion of anti-state activities. And the second point is those arrested under Rowlatt provisions will be treated or trialed in a Rowlatt Special Court, Revolutionary Crimes Court, where even evidences not part of Indian Evidence Act will be accepted and there is no appeal. There is absolutely no appeal. In fact, while talking about Rowlatt, it was also known as no appeal, no dalil, no vakil phenomena. The government enacted the Montague-Kempsford reforms and Rowlatt Act in very quick succession, basically as part of carrot and stick policy. So if you are with British, you will get Montague-Kempsford reforms. If you're not with British, then we'll give you Rowlatt. That was the idea. Government of India, 1990. The key principles was enshrined in its own. The subjects, basically, as I said again, I'm being very clear. In Government of India, 1919, there was provincial diarchy. Representative government and responsible government was introduced in the provinces. Only in the provinces, not at the center. Subjects of making law were defined in this act. Provincial subjects were classified into two types: reserved and transferred. The reserved subjects were to be handled by the governor and his ministers. Transferred subjects were to be handled by the governor in the provinces along with his elected members. It provided for appointment of Indians as Governor General 6-member council as well as establishment of bicameral legislatures. No, no, they all protested. They all protested. Even Indian Liberal Federation of Tej Bahadur Sapru protested Rowlatt Act. The revolutionary terrorism had actually greatest impact on Punjab and Bengal. And Punjab's martial law administrator was Brigadier General Reginald Dyer. On the Baisakhi day, April 13, 1919, more than 5,000 people had actually gathered in a small park, enclosed park with only one gate in Amritsar, mainly to discuss the future after the arrest of two Congress leaders, Tej Bahadur Sapru and Dr. Satyapal. British general perceived it as a conspiracy, and despite the fact was crowd was peaceful, they were not protesting. They even did not have any political motivations. They were unarmed, and it was festival day. He shot. Official records say 400. Unofficial records say approximately 12 to 1700. The Jallianwala Bagh tragedy sent shockwaves not just to India but also across the empire. In fact, Gandhi called his Rowlatt Satyagraha a Himalayan blunder. And during Kempsford period only, we see the start of Khilafat movement. Khilafat movement, single point agenda to restore Khalifa back to power in Turkey. Khalif had been removed after the World War I under the Treaty of Sevres. So some of the Muslim leaders in India wanted the Khalif to be brought back. Khalif is the religious leader of the Sunni world. The non-cooperation movement program was actually introduced as part of a Swadeshi movement for demanding Swadeshi. The main ideas were picketing of liquor stores, from adoption of Swadeshi, boycott of government offices, councils, law courts, educational institutions, and constructive programs like Charka and Khadi. Gandhi combined these both, Khilafat and non-cooperation movement, mainly to show the Hindu-Muslim unity. Gandhi went on to the point of even saying that if everybody supports NCM, we'll get Swaraj in 1 year. Unfortunately, 2 years later, it ended. 2022 May, 1922 May, it actually ended because of Chori Chora incident. Kempsford rule was a mixed bag. There were attempts to give us good amount of power politically, but there were also acts like Rowlatt Act and Jallianwala Bagh. So it's very hard to judge Kempsford as a good guy or a bad guy. Overall, if you see, there was more towards India. I mean, there was more good towards India than bad during Kempsford's period. I mean, we benefited more than we lost. Okay. So, guys, we'll end this session here today. Tomorrow, Friday, no class in the morning. I'll try to take a Viceroys class in the evening. Otherwise, morning MCQ class will resume on Saturday morning. Okay. कृपया करके टेंशन मत लेना. Saturday morning we will have a small discussion and then we'll go for the MCQs. Thank you guys. You have a nice day. I'll see you tomorrow, day after tomorrow in the morning 8 a.m. session. And today on my Telegram group plus students, I'll be sharing mind maps of Indian history classes. All the classes I've taken. Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.